Hello, beautiful people. Welcome to the fourth episode of The Lives of Others. I'm Anushri Raizada, and today joining me are four incredible people Anna, Sukirti, Vaishali, and Parithi. Hi, guys.
Hi.
Hi.
Holidays with friends are looked at as fun and enjoyable. But when there is a vicious motive behind, it tends to take a disastrous turn and becomes a nightmare. Today we'll be reviewing a movie that revolves around a similar concept called Midsommar, directed by Ari Aster and has a multi-star cast from around the world. Over to Anna.
I think before watching the movie, watching the trailer was a really good bet. But unfortunately, it does not give a warning about the core of the film and presents the film as a movie of cultural exploration and one with toxic relationships. But actually, it wasn't like that at all. It opened with a grey atmosphere. The screen was eerie but went on to become bright and colorful. So I thought, oh, yay, it's good. But it was actually like a fairy tale portrait cover hiding the darkness of the movie.
Dani and her family situation was quite complicated but significant. We knew the characters for the shortest amount of time, but they had the most impact. Dani knew that her sister, Terry, was bipolar and was going through a difficult time. And she was also a psychiatrist, but got shimmered down when Christian told her that it wasn't a big deal and that Terry had done this before too. It's like the story of the boy who cried wolf and how he might have been saved if they went back to in the final time. And also, I think the dying of her parents was portrayed as a liability.
When it came to the friend group, starting with Josh, he was aware of what was happening but said nothing. As a part of his thesis or to hide it from Christian, he should only know. But this was almost like how knowledge is a curse paralleled with Eden's apple. And then we come to Christian, who was a messed up person in general. He was a lost man. He was trying to do his PhD, but he didn't know what topic to choose for his thesis. So he ended up piggybacking or stealing from Josh. But where did that lead him to? But he was also in a mutually toxic and abusive relationship with Dani for almost 3 years or four. And then we come on to Pele, who gaslighted his way through life. He was manipulative under a facade of care, especially towards Dani. And his parents were killed in a fire too. And maybe this has something to do with his infatuation with the festival in general, as a circumstance of his childhood.
Talking about Dani, I think she was a very complicated person. The dichotomy of knowing what's wrong with yourself but not being able to do anything about it. I sense innocence in the sense of intimacy, both physical and emotional. Physical, as she never slept with Christian, and emotional, as when she found out with the woman of the cult. Mark. Like his role in the movie, there's least to say about him. He wanted what was best for his friends. His intentions were very plain and straightforward. Right on the surface, explains why his surface got skinned, I guess.
Coming to the cult, they were mostly seen within themselves. They have long standing secrecy, never question traditions, like there have to be 9 deaths every 90 years as a sacrifice to Odin, All Father. For example, Connie was drowned and Simon was skinned yet kept alive. The horror of seeing them move can be seen when the camera tightens the frame. The female screamed with Dani, which showcased a sense of togetherness that she had never experienced. And the disabled kid are seen as a prophet.
Mental health is an important issue throughout the movie. As soon as they arrive in Sweden, there's an intense drug use, like the mushroom tea. And there's also very trippy cinematography. Their infatuation with death as something to look forward to and something to give back to is paralleled with Danny's mental health.
Dani, I believe, suffered from PTSD. She had trouble sleeping, so she popped in an Ativan, which is a sleeping pill, every night. Though she had a PhD in psychiatry and she knows that how bad dependency on pills can get, She took them every other day to get away from the world, but this just led to her hallucinating about her deceased family, and the word family itself was a trigger for her. The movie teeters on the edge of putting forward mental health issues as something that isn't palatable for romanticism and demonizing it as an attempt at romanticism. It's a personal perspective ultimately.
Talking about the bright colors covering dark themes, I think that this movie had a very fairy tale-ish aspect, and especially foreshadowing through the portraits on the wall and the tapestry at the cult. The music and its evolution from cherry to airy and to ethereal, I think it was quite unsettling for me.
When it came to the cinematography, it went to the old school fading in of scenes as a transition, which I think well suited the movie for some reason. And there's also this very interesting scene where a mirror is placed and we can see Christian in the mirror while Dani is our point of focus, placing them all on the same plane. And this happens twice, but Christian is in the mirror each time. Maybe that stands for something. And the upside down camera when they are finally entering the village where the cult is situated in as a metaphor for their lives turning upside down, maybe. And the last part is how we match the point of view of Dani when we see the environment that she's in being distorted, how she sees grass growing out of her hands and her feet, her sister when she's in the shack, her parents in the crowd, all while she's high. So in conclusion, there were a lot of people in our group who didn't like the movie.
And only one who actually did like the movie. No shade at all. I personally didn't like the movie because they treated death very casually. It was kind of normalized and it made me uncomfortable.
I think I completely agree with Hannah. Like, it was sort of unsettling for me and less of a horror, but I don't know.
As Anna said earlier too in the introduction, a trigger warning in the trailer would have been better because the movie was too visual for me.
While I counter it with that's the whole point, that it was walking this fine line of being unsettling and uneasy versus plain disgusting, which my fellow members here thought it was. I think that is the whole point, as that last smile that comes in the closing scene of the sequence is almost as finally digesting the trauma that can only come when you finally confront it. And this entire movie was an attempt of confronting it through various means, and how unsettled mental illnesses can cause cult behavior. And I guess she was finally free.
We agree to disagree.
Yes, please.
As for the lucky lemons for this movie, since Sukirti is the only one who liked it, we give it a 5 out of 10, but we would have preferred to save the lemons to make a lemonade instead. Thank you.
Thank you.